Before I yield the floor to the distinguished senator from New York, Chuck Schumer, let me explain briefly why the Rockefeller Foundation is here, why we're investing time and energy and resources in work like Peter's outstanding new book, High Wire, which we celebrate this evening, but also why we really are promoting innovative efforts more broadly to reimagine and renew America's expired social contract. Throughout the early decades of the 20th century, and certainly the Great Depression, John D. Rockefeller Sr.'s philanthropies supported a number of efforts to help essentially knit the intellectual thread create these threads and knit them together in what we now have seen for the last 50 years to be America's social safety net. Workers at all levels are facing new vulnerabilities. We've all seen the news. We learned last Friday that between April and May, 50,000 more Americans lost their jobs. 50,000 more families lost maybe the access to the American dream, the belief that their children would do better than they did. That dream is slipping further out of reach. Gas and groceries cost more, homes are worth less, debt grows larger, and the disparities are growing wider. Employers are providing fewer and fewer benefits. Education and health care costs are now exceeding families' capacity to pay. And increasingly, and maybe surprisingly to many of us in this room, we now live in a freelance nation. The challenges perhaps most overlooked are for the independent workforce. Fully 1 in 3 workers in America who were not written into that social contract in the 20th century to begin with. Newsweek's new cover on the newsstands just outside set the situation in sharp relief. Recession, the banner headline says, it's worse than you think. Tonight's discussion, Lessons from the Current Economic Crisis, will elevate and animate important ideas about why we got here and where we're heading and how we might chart a new course. We're not asking tonight how the economy is doing. We're not probably, I don't think, going to look at metrics, which metrics are up and which indicators are down, but rather we're going to talk about what Americans are feeling within this economy and how we can bolster economic security at workplaces, on commutes, and importantly, around kitchen tables. We need better research data. We need new products and services and much smarter policies for a very different economy. The Rockefeller Foundation is delighted to be joining forces with others to help shape these ideas and create new solutions. The stakes really couldn't be higher. We couldn't have a better panel to challenge our thinking about literally the most critical issue we are facing. And we are very fortunate in New York to have a leader like Senator Schumer, who really is probing these questions nationally and spearheading a search for new and better solutions. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Senator Chuck Schumer.
Peter's book and the discussion we're having, I think, underlies how our world has changed rather dramatically. And I'm going to talk for a brief minute how it's changed a little bit and then the political consequences. It's changed in ways that I think we miss, and this book highlights, because of two factors related. One is we do look at macro numbers, and macro numbers don't tell much of the story. But if you look at distribution of income and distribution of lifestyle, more or less, there's been really significant change. The top 1% of all people in income made 9% of the total income in 1980. They made 16% in 2000, and they've made about 23% in the last year that at least we in the Joint Economic Committee have been able to piece it together, 2006. And it's going up and up. We are an economy of intangible ideas. Ideas are high value added. And when you have an economy of high value added that's ideas, that it's abstract, wealth tends to agglomerate to the top. If you look at not just income, actual income of the median person in America between 2001 and 2007, this is before the recession, went down about $1,000. I think it's from $48,000 to $47,000. That's family, I guess. Buying power went down from $48,000 to $41,000. That's a lot. And if you had a kid in college, it went down to 39,000. That's huge. And what it's meant for our politics is it's all changing. But no one's going to understand what's really happening in 2008 politically until we understand what's happening economically, and that's why tonight's discussion is so important, and I thank you for letting me be part of it. Thank you.